Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne back to do your bonus read. I'm going to give the Tarot Mucha a bit of a run for this reading. I've always loved this deck and I finally got hold of the deck, so thank you. Okay. You know, I must say, yesterday I got rid of someone on my page. I don't really feel comfortable getting rid of people off my page or off my YouTube channel. It's not the nicest thing to have to do, but some people are just very, very, very negative, and sometimes you've had, you know, some sort of connection through reading for them or giving them free readings or whatever. Some people are very stuck in a victim mentality. And they don't see it because they're so deep within it that it hasn't occurred to them that their own way of doing things and their own way of seeing things is stopping the universe bringing in beautiful things for them. And, you know, they come across, people like this come across your path all the time. And in a personal life, and long before I would have been quite so resilient towards people, I probably would have listened to people go on and on and on about how their life is really unhappy. And we're not talking about healthy stuff here. Everybody likes to have, you know, an unload or a download. You know, life isn't always good to us, and it's a temporary thing, and we sort of get back into it, and we might have bad times when we need to talk to people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who get very stuck in the idea that the universe is always, you know, going to give them bad stuff and they're never going to have what they want and they're really unhappy. And it goes on for a very, very long time. They just don't seem to understand that their own thinking is what's holding them back, their ego. So there are times when people will come around you who are like that, and I think no matter how much you try to console them, no matter how much you try to support and love them, it won't make any difference, because no matter what you put out there and try to encourage them to do, will always come back as that whole idea of the world and the universe is being unkind to them in a very personal way. It's not a really easy situation to deal with, especially if you have a family member or a friend who constantly goes inward to find all the things that are wrong with their world, and they've not awoken or understood that that is actually perpetuating the universe they're living in. So, you know, sometimes things can be in their future and things can be all around them, but when they're really deep and dark like that, they have no way of seeing what is being offered to them by the universe. So they just keep walking around with their eyes closed, feeling that they're the only person operating in their universe. Sometimes you just have to say you've done what you can and you can't do any more, because no matter what you do, you're not going to resolve that person's issues or problems. You can't save them. We can't save people. They can only save themselves. Everything is within them. If they're blaming the universe and the world for what's going on, then they haven't learnt the art of responsibility. And that's very sad, but we can't fix them. So if as an empath, and I've had people say to me, oh, but I like fixing people. Well, you know what? It's not your job. It is not your job to try and fix others. Yes, it's your job to love and support others. Yes, it's your job to, you know, listen to people if they need listening to, but fixing them is not your job. And it is really sad that people get so stuck in that idea, but they are the only people who can learn to bring themselves out of that situation. Very, very difficult if you are constantly being bombarded by someone who doesn't seem to understand that they need to look inside rather than try to find the answers outside of themselves. It's that whole idea of, you know, I need someone else to make me happy. It doesn't work that way. So sometimes we just have to cut our losses and move on. You can only do so much for people, and then it becomes a real problem, because some people are so stuck in that narcissism that they do not see what's beyond themselves. So unfortunate, but just the way it happens to be. And I don't particularly like it. I don't particularly like cutting people out, but sometimes it's just really difficult for other people to listen to it as well. So there's my blurb for today. All right, some smarty pants will go on and just put the date of the reading, I'm sure of it. Okay, so we have the Hierophant coming out here. Now, the Hierophant is a card of stability. It's also the card of tradition. It can be traditional marriage. It can be large organisations. I feel my camera's getting a bit grainy again. I might have to give it a clean. But definitely a card of doing things a certain way and understanding that those habits are something you've grown accustomed to. This is all about, you know, learning to do things a certain way and then always doing them that way. Okay, so I do have the Empress behind that. So the Empress is the card of Mother Gaia, of nature, Mother Nature. It's a person that has really found their true self, who's really aligned with the world and nature. Someone who's perhaps not doing things in this traditional sense anymore. Maybe they're throwing caution to the wind and just living every moment for what it's worth. These are very different energies. The Hierophant is definitely the energy of, you know, doing things in a very traditional way, having habits, you know, doing things because you think you have to. And the Empress is the complete opposite of that. She does things out of love. She does things because she loves to do them. Behind that, we do have the Queen of Cups. So I see here, and then we have the Eight of Swords followed by the Ace of Pentacles. There's a lot of energy here around bringing more stability into your life by allowing and letting the universe do its thing while you just sit by. Isn't that interesting? So it's like you're being asked to just feed into your intuition here. Feed into your heart. Sit in your heart space. Love. Be kind. Don't allow yourself to become entrapped in those things in life that have become a habit to you, that have become things that you need to do because you have to do. And that's interesting because the speech up the front probably aligns with this quite well. You know, you don't have to put up with things if you don't want to. You have every opportunity to let water just flow off the duck's back, as it were, and just live life for where you want to be. If you've been taught that you have to endure other people's pain because that is what life is about, it's a very religious view, and it's not true. You don't have to endure the pain of others. It's not what life is about. The others are responsible for their own pain. Now, again, I'm not talking about supporting or loving someone who's going through a hard time, so please get that straight. I'm talking about people who have become very narcissistic or very stuck in their own journey without any thought or care about others. So this is about taking on this energy of using your intuition, of just taking every day as it comes, not living by the traditional ways you've been taught. Okay, so we have here the Six of Wands. So this is about victory. It's about public recognition, being aligned with the universe, people seeing who you are. Sometimes it can be seen as, you know, a bit of a card of sort of glowing in grace here, but that's okay. We're allowed to, you know, receive the recognition we deserve. I do have the Knight of Swords coming in here. So you do have somebody trying to... This could be your energy here. This could be you moving forward here and just aligning yourself with the universe a lot more. Let's see. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, this is turning out a little differently to what I thought. And then we have the card of the Devil. Wow, the Devil is really different in this deck. Look at that. Okay. So this is about you allowing love, cutting things out. And it's so funny that I've had that reading up front again, because this is about your ego. This is about understanding how your ego plays a part in how you do things. I feel like somebody is coming in here. Somebody who's coming in to speak some sort of truth and offer you love. No doubt about that at all. But this ego and this story I've been telling is to help you move past the expectations of life here. So if someone's coming in to offer you love here, this is saying don't let your ego impede you. There's victory here. So this is a time for dropping that ego, for dropping the ideas and traditions that have kept you bonded, Very, very nice. Okay, so we have the Fool card coming in here. So there's a promise of a brand new start here. And the Queen of Swords is coming through here. So there's a lot of sword energy here. Oh, we do have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so we're talking about someone who may have done you wrong in the past, may not have expressed how they felt due to their ego. But in this particular circumstance, you have to understand the part the ego plays here as well. Interesting. I'll get right through it and we'll give it a good going over. We do have the King of Wands coming out, who made an appearance in our What's Cracking reading. We have the Eight of Pentacles coming out here, so something that needs work. And then we have the card of the Lovers. So for many of you here, this is a love reading. So we're talking about not always abiding by tradition. Life isn't meant to be lived in an orderly way, as this traditional card says. We don't have to do things because they're expected of us. We may have to abide by laws. We may have to abide by things that, I mean, we can't go around killing people because we don't like them, for example. But it's more about, you know, understanding that what you were taught as a child may not necessarily serve you now. The universe is asking you to take on this energy of the Empress Queen of Cups here, where you're open and you're loving and you're kind, but without feeling you have to do that in a certain way. And then we have this Eight of Swords. So there's some sort of something that's binding you here. And I feel this is what this Tower is coming in to clear. And it's making a lot more sense to me now, seeing the cards like this. So it's almost like the universe every day breaks down what it's told us the day before, which is really interesting. So this is you being bound by things that you've been told as a child, or things you've been told in your past, things you can't do, things that you have to live by. And the universe is saying these traditions no longer serve you here. You need to be open to your intuition, open to your heart space, and do things because they're the right thing to do. So sometimes turning someone away because that you are unable to help them, sometimes is that tough love thing. Sometimes that people need that to understand how to take responsibility for themselves. But as empaths, we have to learn that we can't fix everybody. No matter what we do, we can't fix people. Unless you're a nurse and you're fixing an injury, then it's funny, isn't it? Because I'm always scared I offend people here, but this is about understanding your personal power. You are not there always to fix others. But yes, if somebody has a grazed knee, of course you're going to fix that up. This is about understanding your ego. Somebody is making an offer to you here. There's love being offered. It's great love. Somebody wants to work on something with you, probably somebody who has held back on their feelings, who hasn't expressed themselves to you. There's a brand new start for you here, but there's a lot of truth in the middle here that needs to be exposed, because I feel that you two have got a bit of an ego barrier here. So it may be that you believe tradition should be a certain way and the other person believes tradition should be their way. And there needs to be that conversation around how do you allow the ego to fall away to have those conversations around more difficult things. But there's definitely some sort of relationship coming in, definitely something here that you need to drop your ego and listen to the other person's point of view. This isn't always about how you see things done. So if date night's only on a Friday for you, perhaps this time date night needs to be on a Saturday. Don't stick with your traditions. Yes, I'm being silly, but it's that serious here. You have to let go of what you've learned. You have to let go of the things that hold you back. Maybe, you know, you were taught as a child that you could never be. I always use an astronaut because I think that's just the most incredible outcome. You know, maybe in relationships you've always been taught that, you know, you can't have sex before you get married. Well, that's fine if you want to hold up your religion, but you know what, if you want to do it, why would you hold back? That's entirely up to you. That's taking on the energy of, you know, making your own mind up, going with the flow, relying on your own resources, not listening to what other people say. That's what it's talking about here. But again, that's not the seriousness of the law or anything to do with the law. We can't break those, unfortunately. So we have the card of the Thinker coming out here. So that is card number 44. Very sort of strong messages this morning, but that's okay. I deal with that as it comes in. This is about strategy, being analytical and logical. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment there is no deeper meaning than what is obvious. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple and you will win the game of life you're playing right now. Very interesting. The relationship message here says love is not logical, but when you choose a partner, it's good to have things in common other than desire. It's time to weigh up the pros and cons of your relationship. So maybe, you know, with the ego here, it's talking about how you think a relationship goes, how you think a person should be in a relationship. You know, those types of things that you've learned. You know, maybe you believe that if you're meant to be with someone, they'll just fall on your path. But maybe, you know, you need to get out there and do things in order to meet that person. Maybe the path that they're going to fall on is one that you find through doing another activity. So you can't limit yourself with this ego approach. It's very important that you open your eyes and be like the Empress, and just approach everything as you want to, with your heart open and your intuition on point. Big reading. Have a great day, everyone.